just always oversubscribed.
Now, I would like to invite the
I am so proud to see a room full.
You're right. There's a security services company.
Of the Indian diaspora.
Yeah, we have President of TiE, Anita Manwani. Yeah, Anita, how are you feeling today? We are standing outside an oversubscribed NVIDIA LLM workshop. So what are your thoughts? How are you feeling today?
I am super excited. I am so grateful to NVIDIA, all our sponsors, and more so all the volunteers who made this possible, 300 of the volunteers. And it's lovely to see so much diversity. Our diversity quotient right now is at 40% of the speakers.
Wonderful.
Are diverse.
Yeah.
So awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
We are not just about startups and technology. We are about playing an active role in shaping the destiny of US-India relations. Thank you, Mateen Syed, who is shaping the dialogue of what it means to Indian Times of India, one of India's most powerful media outlets.
I know the power of this network, and we reflect the network of what Asha spoke about globally.
I oversee the digital businesses as well as a lot of what we do internationally. In particular, we have a very large focus on North America and the United States. We run Willow TV and CrickBuzz, and we're part of the sort of founding group for Major League Cricket. We think of cricket as one of the important ways in which we'll see India's sort of capital expand globally. And then obviously the Times of India group is a large media group in India with a very long 184-year history.
What are you seeing in terms of sort of US-India partnership growing on? What fronts is it growing? Is it growing on AI? Is it growing on defense? And what do you think?
When you look at some stage, Japan was challenging US. It was an economic power, but not a military power. China is a military power, economic power, and a technology power.
The Indian diaspora is here in a big way, and we are connected in profoundly important ways to India. Not only through our startups, many of us like myself who are in venture capital, we are investing in Indian startups, we are bringing Indian startups here, and sometimes we are even enabling mergers and acquisitions, right? So India is now sort of an idea which is fairly global in its reach.
There's 1.3, 1.4 billion people and a box in which it resides. The opportunity resides in the boundaries of India. I think the opportunity of India is far beyond its boundary. We all sitting here are the opportunity outside the boundary. We are sitting here. So we tend to restrict ourselves in that, and I believe we have to look at beyond. So it's not the US-India partnership I want to talk about, I want to talk about the global India partnership. It's far bigger than that.
And the Prime Minister told him to go and look at actually Varanasi and said, you go see what's going on there and look at Ayodhya. Now the thing is that this is something that's very important in the Prime Minister's mind and in his team's mind. And there is, I think, there is a waking up of India as a civilizational state.
Culture and economics don't operate in silos, but they go hand in hand. And that, I think, is the realization or the story that India is going to present before the world. Whenever a society rises, it's not just a question of its economic rise. But the one thing that you end up asking is, what is it bringing to the pool of human thought? What is the India way? What does it represent? What is the idea that captures Bharat?
It looks like, I mean, I'm not guessing on what the results are likely to be in the Indian elections, but let's say if the BJP comes back, which is likely to. If it does come back, we have 5 years of unprecedented stability and growth ahead of us.
It's a good question. I think one of the interesting things that is unique about India right now from a media landscape and from a communication landscape is there was a study done a couple of years ago about how optimistic are citizens about the future of their country globally. And India actually ranked higher than any other country globally in terms of their own citizens' perspective of the prognosis of their future. As a media outlet, we feel we have a balanced responsibility of being a reflection of the spirit of the country, as well as oftentimes being truth to power and things of that sort. But if you take a sort of macro lens, I think, generally the narrative is positive.
This is a huge population, and of the Indian population, probably more than 50% is rural. How included do you think rural India is feeling about this growth story?
Imagine the tragedy of a situation where you start questioning the functional utility of democracy because it seems to come in the way of economics. Okay, so that is the kind of silo that we were being pushed into. And finally, you're looking at the possibility of an expeditious decision-making process happening within the fold of a democracy. We vote for him, or who has voted for him, with a fair degree of stinging, scathing criticism on multiple levels. Nevertheless, his strength has been his focus on the basics. The digital stack was never meant, according to me, to empower the urban elites. It was meant to actually create an inclusive economic model.
Partnership with the critical emerging technology. It could be quantum, could be AI, cyber, or basic manufacturing of GE jet engines in India itself. And the overall objective was twofold. One is India is 62% of its platform today, defense platform, is Russian. How do you basically take off India from that platform and not necessarily get on the American platform, but
India problem in the sense India had issues with identity, India had issues with payments, so we started that. But remember, 2 days ago we rebranded it as Citizen Stack and launched it for the world.
it's a not-for-profit organization focused on policy between India and the US. We deal from geopolitics to economic to immigration to people issues.
Someone who doesn't earn his livelihood from writing. I'm fundamentally a litigator with intellectual property, antitrust law, and constitutional law forming my areas of core practice. So the legal fraternity knows me as a subject matter expert when it comes to these subjects. The non-legal fraternity thinks of me as some kind of a civilization ambassador.
Lifetime achievement. You're just starting, you told me. We're still young. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. And we made sure. I've never met a digital twin that was aware it wasn't that digital twin. Yeah, so I have kind words, right? So let's start with your entrepreneurial journey.
That's one way of describing it, and if you don't mind, I'll rephrase exactly what you just phrased. It's important. So we competed against about 110, 120 graphics companies over time. And what made us different was perspective. And some people would say that that's vision, but it's simply just to say it's perspective. We saw the world differently. So let me give you an example. Whereas people were thinking that they were building computer graphics chips, or they were building computer graphics systems, or they were trying to build the world's best. And you could see it. Their mission statement says we're going to build the world's best 3D graphics technology. We always saw it as an application problem. That the goal was to make the application richer, more enjoyable, or possible in many cases. The market, a different way of thinking about developing technology. How you see the world by insane amounts. If you look at Moore's law, over the course of the last 40 years, in the best 3 decades, it reduced the cost of computing by a factor of 10 in 5 years. 1.5 times of the population, or a couple of times over 100 years.
So company for 30 plus years, I've been doing entrepreneurship as VC for 30 years. I get asked the questions, I want to answer to you. Why are you still going? I tell them I'm in the early 50s. Warren Buffett is going till like late 90s, right? What's driving you? Right, because I know life is not. Longevity has gone up to get up in the morning and have no time, and not to have an autobiography What's getting you going? What's the unfinished business? I hear other people answer that question. They always sound so smart. I don't have anything else to do. That's a good answer. I need to copy.
For those of you who are new to TiEcon, we just want to give a refresher on how it's structured so you guys can take best advantage. We have time-tested format combined with the most recent, relevant and innovative, comprising of tracks and programs.
Thank you, Survi, and thank you, Sandeep. Welcome to all of you.
It's wonderful to see TiEcon bringing all these entrepreneurs
How included do you think rural India is?
Imagine the tragedy of a situation where you start questioning the functional utility of democracy because it seems to come in the way of economics.
It's a good question. I think one of the interesting things that is unique about India right now from a media landscape and from
Come up with new values.
You're trying to tell me that as you get older, you get jaded, is that what you're saying?
And a great teacher inspires. See, I told you it's very smart. No, it's just.
And train them up. So I would train them up. This was neural networks. I was training my neural network, working on it, and 1 month into training, after 1 month, there was a mistake and human-like adaptability. And you can't say, the robot is going to put a ball almost there. No, it can't be almost there. It has to be there. So there are a lot of horizons.
It's probably maybe 10 years, maybe not 5 years, we'll see. But moving on here, I'm going to pick up your
Interesting discussion here. I think this why now question, that came up in the previous panel, I think that has been sort of the thing that has consumed me for a little while, the why now. And then when you start making a list of why now, there's not just one only, there are probably 20 why nows. There is, of course, the semiconductors are here, the compute capacity is here, the networking bandwidth is here, you've got mobile phones, you've got devices that are available to you, the data is ready. There are many, many technological readiness things that are there. But then there's also a bunch of things about user readiness. Instead of pricing decisions, you can use OR type models to do it. But then if you want to do Uber and you want to do essentially pricing at the edge with real-time data, you're going to do it with machine learning. And so that progression is happening everywhere. So those analogies exist. And then finally, at kind of the global scale, there is now readiness to rethink your supply chain.
Hello everyone. On and say let's talk to God. Right? And you would ask a lot of questions. If you have been there that year and picked up the phone and talked to God, the voice on the other side had a very thick Indian accent. And that was me. Their secrets with me. And the obvious answer is that they think a God-like entity is an impartial, honest broker who can agents that just kind of stay amongst each other? Or are we going to start a parallel revolution where there are very small agents, very simple agents? They don't do much, but they're highly networked. Inserting faulty data or erroneous data into it. So verifiability also becomes challenging. So nevertheless, I think
basing most of our medical decision making on Framingham trials built 30 years ago on a very small population of Caucasian. What you feed your LLMs with is representative of the population in the US and the world. So we're seeing more of that. There's the NIH's All of Us trial, which is a bit of a crowdsourced database, including donating your condition 2 days earlier, be much more proactive to prevent those complications and deaths.
Doc in the pocket.
And the doc in the pocket is similar. Now we have, as an individual, all sorts of digital exhaust that you can pick up from your mobile phone, the camera. Voice is a biomarker, can pick up neurologic disease or depression or Parkinson's.
just see the full crowd.
Proud to see a room full.
You're right. There's a security service company.
Anytime